Say the name of the organization again.
Chevening Research Group.
Okay. And where's that out of?
He was mainly based out of the Northwest. They've been doing this for like 50 years or so.
Like Washington, Oregon area?
Yeah, Washington, Oregon, but he relocated to New Mexico, and he has a whole bunch of people from Pennsylvania to Texas to all the way out to Northwest, and I'm probably the only one from the Wyoming Valley area, Navajo Nation area. So, as a kid, we've always had things coming around, my great-grandmother's house.
And this was the Monument Valley area?
Yeah, Wyoming Valley area. There was no electricity or light, so, we always chalked it up as being as, skinwalkers, witchcraft and stuff, And, seeing like hairy arms trying to reach into the trailer, trying to grab his kids. And just seeing what my uncle would describe as a gorilla trying to crawl in, and he actually shot it. He actually fought with his dog outside. And then I seen what they call the dogman figure.
I've heard about those a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, looking into the window.
Kind of like a werewolf type thing.
Yeah. There was a full moon out, and I rolled the other way because I already knew I don't want to look at the window, but it was a full moon. So I heard my little brother is like calling my aunt's name. He's like, "Look, puppy!" And then it was really late. I was like, "No, puppy can't be that tall."
Yeah.
Because the trailer's high up, right?
Sure.
So we turned around, and sure enough, the bottom window was at a good size, and poor dimensions. I can't really give you the dimensions. So it was just a huge old, gigantic wolf head.
Right.
Just right at the window on the other side looking at him. The full moon's right behind him. I saw the whole silhouette, and then I had his hands on the window.
Were the hands, what were they like?
It was huge. It's like a man, but a claw.
More human-like, but claw-like as well.
Yeah,
so
I
not
seen
quite
that.
Dog, not quite human.
Yeah, I seen that, but I just went straight back to that huge thing, and I was just laying there, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. Froze. And then my aunt, she went and grabbed. He was like 2 or 3 in between there. He was a little guy.
How old were you at the time?
I had to be 7, maybe 9. My grandmother passed away, so I was like 9, maybe 10, probably.
Right.
So around there.
Young, but old enough to remember clearly and to.
Yeah. And so she ran over there and grabbed my little brother, threw him in where she was laying, and then she buried us with blankets and pillows.
Yeah, there's what can you do,
Yeah, and she was calling my uncle out. He was in the backpack. My great grandmother passed away as well, so he was in the back room where she was at. She was sleeping in the living room, and I was on the other side of the living room. She was sleeping with my little cousin brother. So he ran out. That thing just took off from the window. He ran out to the balcony, the porch, and he was just shooting rounds off. And it was just night like this, night after night, getting visitations. And then we played hide and go seek. And then my uncle, one of my other uncles, he's a teenager. I was like probably preteen. So I was playing with a whole bunch of family members. We have this mesa that's probably 2 miles long by a mile wide. So we were playing up there hide and go seek, and only the seekers can have a flashlight. Everyone else has to hide. No flashlights at all. You have to go in the dark. So we knew our way around. We knew every hiding spot, light or no light. So he got a good idea. He got the bright idea of taking off to the west of the mesa and running off into the bushes and thinking he's gonna win. So he did that. He ran off probably like 100 yards away from the mesa, and he was looking up towards the mesa, and he was hearing noise behind him, and then rocks like being thrown behind him, thrown at him from behind him. And he was turned around. The second time he looked, there was a huge giant alien gray head right over the bush. With his hands right over, looking at him, watching him. Huge almond eye, everything.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with that, and and then we got older. We're seeing UFOs, giant triangles, and I'm not even including the skinwalker visitation, nightly, routinely. And as we got older, we started getting a little more bolder, and we started spotlighting. And my one night I wasn't there, but one of the few nights they ran into what they call a dog man. He's taller than a cedar tree. I guess they point the spotlight that way when my little cousins and my uncles grabbed the spotlight and turned that spotlight a little bit higher. I guess it said that cedar tree was like at its stomach, and it was leaned over the tree, and it was like showing its teeth, his whole canines, the whole rows.
How tall would you estimate something like that was?
Cedar tree is probably about 10 feet.
Oh wow! And this thing was like looming over.
Yeah, it was over.
That is wild.
It was a full saliva dripping.
Right.
They're all staring. There was like probably 9 of them in the truck, and then they all had rifles, and they didn't want to shoot it. They just hit the top of the truck, and they peeled out, took off.
Yeah.
This thing started running towards them, after them, jumping over them, throwing rocks at them. Then another night, we're going on the other side of the mesa. This is all Monument Valley area. This is a long time ago, probably like in the late 90s to the 2000s, early 2000s. This is before any of this paranormal stuff was popular.
Right.
We were just told to just keep quiet about it.
Sure.
That's why you're not supposed to be out at night. Just go to
Right.
sleep.
Yeah.
We're children of the day, they're the children of the night. Wait, what do you mean? How do you know? No, go to sleep. They won't tell you anything.
Right.
They'll just give you little breadcrumbs and smack, go to sleep.
Yeah.
So that didn't stop us. We went out spotlighting.
Curiosity is a strong thing.
Oh, man.
That's wild though. God, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, and then
And at that height, you know it's not somebody in a costume.
Yeah. And then if it's someone in the skin, they're usually looking like a half man, a half pig, or half man, half dog, or half man, half horse, half man, half coyote. Any animals, he can run and jump into an owl and fly off.
That's one thing I've been told is that some native people that I've talked to about the skinwalker phenomenon, they say that white people misunderstand it because they think it's always going to be the wolf, but it can be any animal that person wants to use the magic to change into with the skin. Yeah, that's cool to hear the more expanded version of the different things they can become.
Oh yeah.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is about that part of the country that makes these things so much more common?
This whole area, the Southwest, is very, very, very ancient. You can find places where there's pictographs and ruins.
Yeah.
And you can camp out near there. There's always something weird is gonna happen. There's gonna be a fire lit in a ruin by itself, or you will see a ball of flame going in circles, or moving around, running around, or ghosts, stuff like that. And from that to seeing a huge giant disc fly in and park right there, or just objects that you can't wrap your mind around.
Right.
It'd be a triangle object pulsating different light projection. One pulsate can be down, one can be up, one can be triangle, spiral. It'd be like different flashes, quick, and then it'll be gone, boom, or it'll be parked up there looking like a silver shiny disc. And they will come out there. They like the LED lights, the new ones these days, the little ones that you put out with the solar on there. Yeah, they like to come down. They come in threes. They walk around the house. They'll be touching the light. Even the dogs will be afraid of them. Everyone will be afraid of them. Walking around in this one area is called Halchita. In that community, there's this story they call the river monster, because the San Juan comes from Colorado, so it's a freeway. So they say this monster comes off from the river.
Everything needs water. So,
yeah, but these guys don't need as much water because they drink blood. They'll rip a rabbit, whatever, in half, and they'll drink the blood dry. Even humans, they need blood more than they need water. So they take this road. I like to call it road, but it's a river.
Right.
All the way, and they come up into the community Halchita, and they go take the dogs, cats, and And then for a while, the story would stop because they would say he was screaming every night, and all the dogs would go crazy. So the dog population went low. We used to have a lot of wild dogs too. So
Yep.
it was feeding.
That's a common thing down in the Navajo Nation.
Yeah, we had 20 wild dogs. You know? So hiking as a kid, I knew how to be quiet and to take the high ground all the time, so I didn't see. Be upwind. So being like that a lot, and herding cattle, herding horses, herding sheep, looking for them, tracking for them, looking for lost animals as well, and so one night I have a family that are from off the reservation. They came to the reservation. They're like, let's go hiking. It was like midnight. Let's go. I want to see something, right? And then I was looking at him. I was 18 at the time. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. So you're gonna regret that. Let's go then. Let's go. I could use some adrenaline,
Right.
So let's do this. And so I had two of my aunts, my uncle, 3 cousins, and I, seven of us. And with this story, we all never spoke about it after. We never even brought it up until later, and then they looked at me with their face expressions of shock, like, what? I was like, no, for real, look, and I'm putting everything together. So we took off after midnight in El Chita. We went to an old trash dump where it used to be. We walked probably about 5 miles away from the community, and all these routes I'm used to. I can navigate at night with no light as well. I used to run all the time.
You knew this country.
Yeah, it was my territory. So we're walking and we hear the world's most weirdest growl, like this thing's out of a cartoon, or it's just something that the last thing you would expect to hear or your brain could register, because you've never heard anything like this, right? So it was just like I can't imitate it. So we heard it, then we looked that way, and about probably 100 yards, maybe a little more than 100 yards away, there's a hill, and then the flashlight. My uncle had a really bright light. He's the one that had a flashlight, and we can see a eye shine. It was amber, and I thought it was my mind told me that it's a bobcat on top of that hill, hasting back and forth, because I can see it walk this way, turn, look at us, and turn that way, and then go that way, turn, look at us, turn that way. So it was pasting. So I was like, okay, it's a predator because its eyes is forward facing. Right. So donkeys, it's tail. Yep. Cow tail, and their eyes are to the side, right?
Yes.
So this one, I was like, okay, it's a predator. Bobcat or cougar? Bobcat. All right, let me go check it out. Everyone, all 6 of them were there. They didn't want to come. They wanted to see something. I was like, well, all right, I'll go over there and go check it out. Everyone's afraid. And then started getting 15 yards in, getting closer. The whole landscape, the sand is red, the rocks red pebble everywhere. That whole landscape. And this thing was blending in, getting closer, and I realized that it stopped pasting and it turned straight forward towards me, looking at me as I was getting closer. And the whole time as I was coming, it was making the same noise, but it was getting louder and louder, so louder that it kind of made me feel uneasy.
Sure.
And my steps.
And you probably know most of the sounds out there. Like mountain lions make crazy sounds, but you know what it is.
Yeah. Yep, them foxes, they'll make some creepy sounds.
That's true. Yeah, they make really odd, like chittering almost. Yeah.
You have them coyotes too. They'll chatter a lot too. They're the loudest ones. They're the coyotes.
Yeah.
So, I was just getting louder, and then it started getting higher pitch, and then like vocals, the range is just like, what in the heck is this person has that vocal cord? It's just like everything is just like, it's like, it's not a man, because the whole time I was like, this is not a skinwalker, this is not a Navajo medicine, this is not, because the whole time I was like, this is just a Navajo guy, just an old guy that it was hocus pocus. I'm afraid of this. The whole time I was like, man, we're used to this. And then everything is just, I was just like getting, my mind was just, everything was just coming off. Nope, it's not that. It's not that. It's not that. It's not that. And I was getting closer, probably like 60 yards close this time. And it got very loud. It was going like it was high pitched, but it started out deep and then it was boom high, and it was just out of this world. And I slowed down. And I realized that his eyes is big, like softball, and it was like the proportions to us. The eyes was huger and further apart and a little bit higher up, and then the dirt is red. And I noticed that it was shaggy. It was red fur, and then like I could tell it's like kind of dome, and it had like a tan to it that made it stood out from the landscape, the red landscape. So I can tell that it was taller, and I realized that it was standing on the other side of the hill. It was taller. The other side of the hill is a steep decline. So this sucker, who knows how tall this guy is. So it was just standing there, and I stopped, and my brain crashed. And so I don't know what this is. Yeah. All right, okay, this is kind of getting creepier, And it started swaying back and forth, and it started like, oh man, it's just watching. I was like, what am I looking at? What is this here? And it's just like, probably my jaw was probably hanging.
Sure. And what do you think it was trying to do? Like, why do you think it was making all that noise?
Well, according to the researcher that the team that I joined, William Jevney, he said that that's a more of a primate trait. Mm-hmm. When they sway, they're building themselves up to rush, to attack, or to bluff charge, to scare the crap out of you so you can run.
Yeah, gorillas do that. They come right at you. They're not going to do anything when they get there, but they want to intimidate you, scare you away.
So that's what it was doing. And the whole time it was making this noise. And I took a few steps again. I was like, I took another step because, I'm not afraid, I don't know what this is, I'm willing to get a little closer and ask you a few questions, because I ain't never seen like this in my life, the size of it is just not a man, because if you get a person standing at that length, you won't be able to tell the eyes. The eyes are small, the nose, the mouth, everything from this whole thing is just off, And I took a few steps, and it took a few steps backwards. It's like it's bipedal, because it took 2 steps back, and then the flashlight and the shadow from the hill, the cast is like from below the torso to right here, another step right here. And then it was making this growl in a weird way. I felt like it was saying, "You better not follow me," And then it took another step down, and his eyes right here, and his eyes was so like amber color. And then step back, it was gone. And I turned around. I walked back to my family, and my head was down, and it's getting closer. The whole time I was thinking, I don't know, what am I going to tell them? Right. Everyone was quiet. It was just so quiet. Got closer to them, and they just said, "What was it?" I just lied. It's a bobcat. Let's keep going. So we went down the wash where it turns into a labyrinth, and it winds and switches back, and then it turns into a maze. And we got lost, and the whole time while we were in there, I let everyone get ahead of me, and I was the last one. The whole time I was probably paranoid. I was jumping back, and I felt like we were on the menu. Yeah, we're on the menu, and if we're on the menu, we'll get the smallest one. And my cousin was the smallest one. He was like 14, little naughty guy. So in a weird way, I knew it was him, but that's why I had him go get in between everyone.
Sure.
They didn't notice what I was doing, but I knew what I was doing. I just going off of feelings and senses, you know what I mean? Like that we're in danger, we're a prey. There's actually a bigger fish out here than we are, and this guy can see at night because his eyes reflecting. That's a carnivore, that's an animal, that's an apex predator that's bigger than me, that made me feel some type of way that no one's ever made me feel,
And you're a pretty big dude.
Yeah.
So for it to be substantially bigger than you, that's and you got close enough to know it's not a bear, it's not a man in a costume, it's something totally different.
Yep.
And it's not scared enough for you that it's going to run away like another animal.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, you said in your email that you've been doing a little bit up in Dixie National Forest, and you mentioned something about a job site too.
Oh yeah. Remember that sand dunes, pink coral sand dunes?
Yeah, on the way out to Cane Beds, Arizona.
Yeah. So we probably went like 9 miles north past that, and we were getting close to that intersection where
Mount Carmel.
Yeah, Mount Carmel, where that other road turns and you can go to Kanab.
Yep.
So 9 miles up that road, we took a right, and we had to do a core drill for a very remote well. And this one guy is working out there by himself. And we had to do 2-inch diameter core drills, and we got done with that. And the two boys were younger than me. They were there, and I was like, "Hey boys, I'll be back. I'm gonna go on a nature walk and go see what kind of traffic comes through here." They were laughing at me.
Tons of deer out there.
Yeah, that's what I found. They were laughing at me, but I was like, "Oh well, I'll be back." So I probably wandered off like 500 to 1,000 yards away from the job site, and I found game trail, deer. Yep, I found a lot of that.
Yep, a lot of mountain lions out there.
I had to see mountain lion. I saw coyote, fox. I found the droppings, and then I found the dude that was working there. I was like, "Hey, this guy." And then I was like, his tracks and the game tracks were parallel, and then I started following this guy's tracks. I was like, "Let's go see where this guy's going." This guy's going kind of far from the job. And then as I was tracking him, a huge foot track, boom, right over that guy. And this track was wider, and it went deeper. I took a few pictures of it, and the proportions was pretty large, And I tracked it to where it was standing. This tree is a 6-foot tree. I can't see over it. So where it was standing there, it was just tall enough to see over the tree, and it was watching that young man work.
So this is something that was happening like in the moment. Like this wasn't tracks that were
probably a day or maybe hours.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, he was watching him build.
There's been some sightings out in Kanab. There was a man that told me an account out there. He claimed that his friend got lost in the desert near Kanab and ended up like laying down and kind of like passing out, from the heat and the lack of water, and said that something carried him back.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, that's what he claimed. That's amazing. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see the toe marks. You mind if I show that to the camera real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
Thanks. See toe marks right here. That's cool. Yeah, that sand in Kanab can be a really good substrate for picking up tracks.
There's a bigger one standing right there. This left track than this after.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you can tell.
I can. Yeah. Now that you pointed it out, yes, I can. I wouldn't have seen it otherwise.
That's a bigger one.
Dang.
You want to show?
Sure. He's showing. Let's see if we can get it on there. Right here off to the side. You can see kind of an older imprint. Very cool.
Yep. Yeah. And I got back to the job site, and I showed the pictures to the young man, and before I went out, I was like, how you like working out here? He's like, I love nature. It's remote. I love my job.
Very remote out there.
And when I got back, I showed him my pictures. Like, hey, anyone walking around barefoot? What are you talking about? And I was like, I found this, and his whole demeanor shift. Complete 180. Where did you get that at? And I was like, I tracked you. I think you took a piss over that way when you were coming back. You got followed just in that moment. I was like, this thing was right behind you. And his face went from smiling to looking 1,000-yard look in the direction. I was like, you ain't alone here. Be careful. I told him that. Yeah. Then back to that story, we continued down that wash, and we found the old dirt road to get back to the community of Halchita, and we're really close to San Juan, and we kind of, our guards dropped. We got a little more relaxed, and my 14-year-old cousin, he got ahead of me probably from here 50 yards, and the road turned around a hill. He went down that corner, and I took a glance down on my feet just to make sure I don't stumble, and then I looked up, and he was just right there 10 yards in front of me, flying. His arms was flying everywhere. His eyes was about to come out of his socket. His mouth was wide open, and he had a terror fright in his look, and he just straight up tackled me. And I already knew what was going on, and I told him, I calmed him down. I said, what did you see? Tell me, what did you see? What did you see? What did you see? He's like,
wasn't a bobcat.
Yeah, he was just frantic, man. He was huffing and puffing. He was squeezing me. And I was like, it's all good, I'm right here. Now tell me, what did you see? What happened? Relax, it's all good. And he just said, Yana Atloshi, and now that means a skinwalker. I was like, what would it look like? Come on, tell me what it looked like. And he said, when he turned around the corner, he looked up. He said that he saw a huge, what looked like a red, shaggy orangutan running towards him on all fours, and was reaching out to grab him with his huge ass hands. And he said he turned around, and he just ran back towards us. And as soon as he told me that, I took off on that same road, that direction. And I had a cousin with me. He was a year younger than me. He was running with me. We were flying down that road. We turned that corner, and we were running, and we ran into a horrible smell. The smell made us stop, and I gagged, or maybe overreacted.
That bad, huh?
Yeah,
I've heard reports of that smell.
Yeah, because I was like, huffing and puffing, and
right, because you're already running.
Yeah, I was hauling it, and then that's made me stop, and I was like, it was right here, and we were looking around, and we could just see the community lights, of El Cheetah in the background, so you could see, and then there's a hill that goes up at a very steep angle, and then you can hear some rocks rolling all the way down. And I looked up, it's like, no, you can't go up there. No man can go up there that fast that quick, because it was
already gone.
It went up like 200 feet. It was like a steep, like if you want to come out to there, and I can show you. I haven't been back to the exact areas yet because, in the past, I got shot at, there, and there's a lot of dark history through there, and it's haunted as well. So I don't go there alone. In a lot of these areas, I do go alone, but I am armed a lot to the teeth. And this last one, I went out alone, and I may have lost my wallet in the slot canyons. So I've been doing research around the whole areas. I've been tracking the family. They follow the San Juan River. Then they come off the Chusca Mountains down the huge drain. There's a drain, if you look on Google Earth, drain runs north all the way down and hits El Cheetah. So this is where the creature was coming from, the Chusca Mountains, coming down that drain, boom, to San Juan. Then he goes all to those communities along the river to Navajo Mountain. He goes along all those slot canyons. My ancestors hid through there during the days of the genocide. That's how we escaped. We use witchcraft too as well to escape. So it's just a maze after maze, and then he goes up to White Mesa, then he comes out through the drainage to the community, and he goes over. He eats the dogs, the cats, and there is people missing. Going into that
that's
mesa.
a thing out there in the Navajo Nation. Lots of missing. Usually a lot of women, but a lot of people in general. Huh?
Yeah, we have 75 people missing currently right now on the Navajo Nation. There is portals there as well. I have seen a goat man with my own eyes. That one is probably more out of this world. It's creepy. It's just very creepy. And then different areas that I do investigate is very haunted as well. And there's little people as well wandering around.
I've heard a little bit about that. That's a huge legend amongst the Cherokee people down in the southeast, and then I've even heard it's a particular group of the Shoshone, I think, up in the Jackson, Wyoming area. They've talked about that.
the Crow and the Montana. That's who they pray to the little people. They really have them in their cultural beliefs as well.
Okay, so this isn't necessarily just a little regional thing. This is
it's all over. Yeah,
that was one thing that really first started to get me really into the Sasquatch research. Was I saw Dr. Jeff Meldrum at an event, and he had a banner behind him with all these words. And I walked up to him and realized, he was there talking about Sasquatch. And I asked him what the words were. And he said, these are just some of the native words from the various peoples of this continent to describe what we commonly call Sasquatch today. All of these are different nations' words. And I thought, if every nation out there had a word for this thing, there was something to it. There was something that really existed, and does exist. Yeah. Not just a story that's told to children.
He's really deep in our culture, our story, our beginning stories goes way back. It gets pretty deep. And then if you really look into the Southwest tribes, like the Pima, they have that maze. They have the little man up in that corner. So he's a part of that right there. He lives in a mountain outside of Tucson. And he's mystical. They call him, he's magic. He's also a trickster, but he's our older brother. And he'll teach you things through mischief. That's what the tribes down that way believe. But for us, we go way back where he actually would eat the children. Like the mother would give birth to babies, and they were able to smell them. They'd come over and say, hey, we have a baby. Give it up, we'll eat it. She had to give the baby up, and eventually, two women gave birth to two boys. And they were the warriors. They had the same dad. The sun. We call him Jonah, But then there's one deity, one ultimate creator that has the power to move the sun, and no one else can. We're all his children, and they're his children as well. So they went up and finally met him through a whole bunch of tests and trials. They met him, and he asked them, what do you need? What do you want? He knows what's going on Earth, this planet, this realm. He knows what's going on. They said, we need a weapon. The monsters, the creatures are eating us. And he's like, okay, what weapon do you want? And then one of the boys looked over to one of his walkways, and they saw an arrow, a bow. And then the arrow was lightning. It was like a sci-fi weapon, if you think of it. Mm-hmm. And he pointed to that. He's like, I want that one. And then, God said, he was kind of hesitant because he knew that they were going to kill his other children. And he was hesitant, but he granted to them because he knew the chaos and carnage was going on down here.
Yeah.
You got in Europe, you got the trolls. You got the Grindel. Every continent, every culture has this monster story. Mm-hmm. They're all not just culture stories. They're all not myth. Each of them has truth in it.
Sure.
So that's he's been there that long with us. They came back to Earth and they started slaughtering a lot of them, but they had mercy on a lot of them as well. They let them live, but then now they're all coming back these days. Yeah, and then a lot of the other creatures, the dogmen, the wendigo, all of them were portals that were opened up by the Anasazi. Okay. They were around, so they did a lot of things, a lot of bad things that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, there's a man on YouTube. It's called the channel is basically like Navajo teachings, and it's a Navajo elder.
Oh, yeah?
And he talks. Yeah, it's a great YouTube channel. And he'll first tell it in the Diné language, and then he'll explain it further in English. That way, the language is preserved at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And he talks about all kinds of amazing subject matter, and he gets into some of this. And there was one I watched recently about exactly what you just said, the Anasazi and the things they were doing that were evil acts. And he did mention the two brothers getting the weapon to kill the giant or the monster. Yeah,
that's we call them Yei. So, like translations like the giant, the big giant, the great big giant. Yeah, but then like the UFOs we call them Diendine, and then like our deities we call them Yei Biche. So translation. The Diendine, holy people, Yei Biche is the giants' grandpas. So they all like a weird, strange correlation of all.
Sure.
Because once you see the Bigfoot, you'll see a UFO nearby. Because on my trails, my tracking, I see a giant orange ball following me around, and I had to get out of there not once but 3 times. And I did make contact. I did flash my lights out, and then it flashed its fireball at me, and it was coming close. And after like about 10 smacks from my wife, I was like, all right, let's get out of here. And then we rolled up on it again, and it was over a house, and it was beaming down into the house. It was probably like about 30 feet over the house, and it was beaming. It looked like a 5 feet wide beam of light right into the house. And we turned our car towards it. This was like midnight. We turned our van towards it and hit the high beam, and then it turned off its light, and it flew probably like about a quarter of a mile down the way to another house, and it was beaming another light when we drove to it. And then I have a full video of it, but these are some of the stills I got.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, yeah.
Each stage it pulsates.
Wow, look at that variety
Just
of
that
colors.
community.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
This is what it looks like when it's following me around when I'm on Sasquatch's trail where he crosses. Yeah, I have pictures of his tracks as well. There's like a family, more than at least a dozen.
Wow.
Different size Sasquatches roaming around.
A variety of different colors. It's pulsing.
All the same video. And here's it's
oh
a toe.
yeah.
Yep. And let's see here.
Yeah, I was. You mentioned New Mexico a little bit. I was in. Oh wow, that's a good one.
See the break, the 2 parts.
Yep, mid-tarsal break.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Mescalero Apache.
Yeah.
Their place near Ruidoso, New Mexico, and I had stopped on a mountain in my van to sleep for the night, and a native lawman came and knocked on the window, and he was like, "You can't be on this mountain at night." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I guess I'll go." He says, "Well, it's native land, but also it's just not safe." And I was like, "What makes it not safe?" He's like, "There's creatures on this mountain that come out at night." And I was like, "All right, get out of here." You got me. Like, that works for me, man. Like,
yeah.
I'm going. He's like, "Our people don't even come out at night, like, you don't want to be up here at night."
Just the crazy ones like me do. Yeah.
That's wild.
So I have a lot of first-hand stories, accounts of creatures from A to Z, and even our own deities are coming back, walking around. Yeah, they're like about 15 feet tall. Like if you look up the Navajo deities, they have a glow to them, so they're peeking behind the trees.
Are these like these deities you're talking about? When you see the petroglyphs, where there's the elaborate, like, they're not like just feathered headdresses, but they're like really complex, almost like those.
Barks,
What'd you say?
Like cedar leaves and the barks. And
Yeah.
it has
And like those Apache crown dancers, like they have those huge like headpieces.
It goes around. Yeah, you see those in those areas. I think they stay to where the people are. I believe so. I heard another one like there was a Hopi Kachina scene walking around on Hopi land. I heard of that story. And then there's a lot of our deities walking around and also coming into people's dreams. So there's a lot of weird, strange things going on, and a lot of portals that were open and never closed. And not only that, a lot of medicine men. So like they do have that life balance, a yin yang, same thing every culture.
Sure.
Life and light and darkness. So they have the ability to heal people. They also have the ability to do the opposite.
Right.
Blessings and the opposite. Life was the opposite of death. They can actually, they mean business. They'll kill you. So I have been cursed a few times, and this is real. It gets very supernatural real quick in the blink of an eye. But all these paranormal things that correlate, they all come off the same battery. So there's 2 different types of little people on the Navajo Nation. There's ones that come out the portals, they're the gnome-looking ones. And there's ones that are in a mountain, and they do come around to Miami Valley, they're the ones that look dressed more like a native, the old school native look, the wild native look. So they stay on the mountain, and once you hike up, they'll come out and challenge you, and then everyone just runs. Everyone stays off the mountain. No one goes up there.
Yeah.
And if you are utility power lines working, you go up there. A lot of them, they never go back up there. They have to go up there to do a job. But when they go up there, they hear a voice whispering to them, or they see a lizard person come up to them and just go like the predator, the camo, that on predator.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Like they get
Just
blurry
like
and disappear. Yeah.
Yeah, or they'll come up to them like they're gonna choke them. And then these are giant lizard people. And not only that, Bigfoot lives up there, and then there's a dimension, there's a hollow earth entrance inside of there where my in-laws said there's like actually seen a unicorn coming out. There's actually what they call the half man, half horse. They stay inside of that mountain, and they actually guard it. So there's a lot of things go around about that mountain, and it's the entrance to the hollow earth. There's life inside that goes in there, and water comes out of there, gushing out.
Which mountain is this?
Navajo Mountain.
Navajo Mountain.
Yeah, and so they do come out, they take baths, they drink, and the locals run into them. And when they do take pictures, these things will go to their house and pick on them and give them nightmares until they delete off their phone. It just makes everything more strange, just strange completely. And right now, I just came back from there, and there's an old lady wandering around while I'm asleep and talking to themselves, and some voices around me while I'm sleeping, knocking on the window, trying to open the van door. Wood knocks. Sasquatch's been coming out screaming out of there, so I've been hiking the slot canyons back and forth for miles, and I was just spent and burnt out. So it's just a lot of strangeness.
Yeah.
I'm willing to document it. I've seen everything without no cameras. A lot of cameras weren't around. Cell phones were around back then.
Yeah. Well, even if you did have that, you're gonna be chased down by this gorilla thing and whip out your camera and be like, well, I better film this real quick before I run away screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
And then as soon as I got back, and then there's this one picture that just came out yesterday, around close to the area where I was working.
This picture's, but this one you sent me online. This is wild. This picture's as of yesterday, you say?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Look at you can tell it's like something stocky,
Yeah. It looks like it's dragons on, possibly.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
Possibly.
Because it wouldn't make sense for his legs to be shifted over like that.
Yeah, so
maybe something down to his side.
Yeah, his left arm was dragging something.
Yeah.
So I'm getting in contact with people that took this picture. Yes, this weekend was a whole cattle roundup on Navajo Nation. So everyone that had cattle, they had to round them up. So people are looking for the cattle. So they will run into these guys.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times they won't take a picture.
Sure.
And if they see something, they won't tell anyone. If they will tell anyone, they'll be told to be quiet and keep it under wraps. And shh, don't tell the outside
But
world.
word kind of gets out amongst the native people, huh?
Yeah.
They tell one or two family members, and it might.
I have
like you.
Yeah. So I have a problem with people telling me what to do sometimes. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go tell somebody. I'm gonna go tell somebody that is brave enough to walk with me on these hikes, because I can't get my own people to go with me.
I'll be down
They'll
to go
stop.
down there.
They're like, I can't do this. We're not supposed to do this. I'm like, come on, man. This is the only way. We gotta go spotlight this area tonight, man. There's things around here. We see tracks and they back out. They let know. And then
How many hours drive is this area from out here?
3 hours.
3 hours. So not
to 4 hours.
Not too awful far.
Yeah. So Bigfoot roams across the whole Navajo Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah, I've heard stories about the Mogollon monster.
Yeah.
I've been out in that
monsters.
the Mogollon Rim. That's a beautiful area.
I gotta go check that out. I haven't worked that area. I passed by a lot, but I know they're there.
It's really a lot of forest up there. I was very surprised. And then I can't remember. I've driven through a lot of, I've been out to Shanto and all these places, Tuba City, and was that Paint Mine Canyon, and all these places. And there's people don't know how the Navajo Nation is really big. And it's not just desert. There's forest out there. There's all these slot canyons you're talking about.
And nobody wanders off into the night. Everyone stays on the road.
Yeah.
And then, so there's a lot of places where the skinwalkers meet. They're actually a cult as well, but they actually can open portals, close portals. They can do whatever the heck they want.
Yeah.
So they have their own meeting places. So each in different area is like different territory. So one area, the closer to Grand Canyon you get, there's that what you call a rake. Is in a cave that lives in those areas.
Those thin, skinny gray guys.
Yeah, pale. Yeah, there's caves in there. They come out. So every now and then, around that area, the side of the reservation, if there's a dead cow, dead horse, the smartest thing you can do is camp out there and watch it. These things will come out and they'll eat it. The locals,
that makes
they
sense.
come out and shine their light to it, and they see it. They don't know what it is. And, they get nightmares, and the only thing they can do is see a medicine man for spiritual relief from the trauma that thing caused to them. Same thing with Bigfoot and the goat man, and so it's just a lot of weird strangeness going on. And not only that, you got people that have really bad meth, crack problems, and not only that, you got people that are a little crazy, that like drama.
And it's a hard life out there.
Yeah, and you can't call the police. The police won't come at all. So, the only thing you can do is call family. That's it, With everything, you don't call the cops until you want a dead body hauled off, and then you call the cops. They'll come and haul the body away. But it's a sad story on their end. But they do deal with these things. My friend had a CB, a radio, and then he's hearing that all these officers are chasing this thing down a railroad. They said they don't know what it is, and they're just screaming and hollering at each other. And then the FBI came and got involved, and the radios went silent. Yeah, so like a lot of the locals there, they have those radios just to tune in. I'm gonna get one eventually, just so I can see what's
listen
going
to the
on.
Police action and stuff.
Yeah, because they'll report it over there.
Then you're like, well, that's why I'm gonna go check this out.
Yeah, they actually reported like this person seen a goat man. You'll hear the goat man thrown out. You'll hear a werewolf thrown out. You hear a skinwalker, Bigfoot, UFO. You hear all those thrown out. Then you'll see actually like a government vehicle pull up, and those people are armed with guns, and they're the secret government. They're the ones. The locals, when they see them, they know, but they won't say anything. They won't tell anyone at all. They'll just little chatter, and then the government official vehicle there, they know they have all these shotgun shells and sawed-off shotguns and all these things, and they're Caucasian. And they would look around, look at everyone, make eye contact, and everyone would look at them. They would know who they are just by looking at them. Know that they're up there, secret. Don't mess with them. Yeah, so they'll be all blacked out Suburbans. They'll come to my family's house right now in Miami Valley. Fly a drone over because like about 100 UFOs gather over their house. Comes from a gigantic triangle mothership. I can keep going for days, man. So they come out from this. I've seen this with my own eyes. I tried catching up my phone. My phone quality is so poor. I'm gonna get better equipment in the future. So these things, they all come out from this mothership, probably like about 80, maybe 100 UFOs coming out, and they do a circle. They come back together, they do a square, they disperse. They all come back together and they start playing like they're chasing each other.
Right.
And then they all come back and do a gigantic circle in the sky. Then they all fall down to earth. They stop, they disappear, and then you will see them all come out the mothership again. And then they'll be flying around all the way from 11 o'clock till the sun comes up. Even when the sun is coming up, you can still see the lights in the sky until the sun gets brighter and brighter. You can't see them. So who knows if they're still doing it during the day. So this is right over the Four Corners region. So it's just for days, man. But, yeah.